Welcome to Liverpool fans. Today we've got the latest updates of your beloved club Liverpool. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started. Jurgen Klopp arrives at Anfield to sign a 3-year contract. The city of Liverpool woke up to an energy it had not felt in a long time. The streets around Anfield were alive before sunrise, filled with voices, chants, red scarves, flags, and the familiar excitement that only one man could bring back. For months, the rumours had been loud, the speculation endless, and the hope of the supporters almost desperate. And finally, the long-awaited moment arrived. Jurgen Klopp was officially back at Anfield, ready to sign a new 3-year contract that would mark his dramatic return as Liverpool's manager. It all began the night before, when news broke that Klopp had arrived in London to finalise the last details of his contract. Cameras captured his landing, the confident smile on his face, and the unmistakable body language of a man ready to finish what he started. His presence set the football world on fire. Social media exploded within minutes, and Liverpool supporters across the globe stayed awake in anticipation of the next big step, his arrival at Anfield. And on this historic morning, the moment became a reality. By 7 o'clock, thousands of fans had already surrounded Anfield. Some wore the legendary Klopp glasses, others waved banners reading "Welcome home, boss," "The King is back," and "Write the next chapter." Others held up pictures from his famous celebrations, arms outstretched, fists pumping, face lifted to the sky in triumph. It was clear that his impact on the club had never faded, even during the period he was away. When the first whispers spread that Klopp's car was approaching, the crowd erupted in chants of "You'll never walk alone." The sound grew louder and louder until it filled the entire neighbourhood. Then came the moment every fan had been waiting for. An official black club vehicle entered the main road leading to Anfield. Supporters pressed closer, phones in the air, trying to catch a glimpse of their returning hero. Seconds later, through the tinted window, a familiar silhouette appeared. Klopp lifted a hand to wave, and the street exploded in pure emotion. Some fans were crying, others shouting his name with all the strength in their lungs. The passion was overwhelming, and Klopp, unable to hide his joy, lowered the window slightly and offered a wide, warm smile. The kind that had always made him feel like family in Liverpool. The car slowed as it reached the main stand entrance. Security teams established a protective path, but Klopp insisted on stepping out for a moment, greeting supporters directly. He approached the crowd, shook hands, laughed with a few supporters, and lifted a young boy holding a sign reading, "Welcome back, Jürgen. We missed you." Klopp hugged the boy and whispered something that made the child smile from ear to ear. "Feels like home," Klopp told a reporter nearby, his voice full of emotion. Once inside the stadium, Klopp made his way to the executive meeting room, where Liverpool leaders Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, and FSG representatives awaited him. The atmosphere inside the building was a blend of excitement, relief, and anticipation. Everyone seemed to share the same thought: the future of Liverpool was back on track. There was a brief meeting to confirm the final clauses of the contract. The agreement included not only 3 years as the head coach, but also expanded influence over academy development, recruitment strategy, and a long-term sporting vision meant to move the club into a new era of stability and competitiveness. Klopp listened carefully, asked a few questions, smiled, and then finally picked up the pen that symbolised the moment every Liverpool fan had prayed for. With a calm and steady hand, he signed the contract. The room filled with applause. Klopp leaned back in his chair, looked at the paper and said with a grin, "All right, let's get to work." His voice carried an excitement that reminded everyone of his early days at the club, when he had promised to turn doubters into believers. After signing, Klopp walked through the internal corridors of Anfield, touching the walls gently with a nostalgic expression. He paused before reaching the famous tunnel, stopping beside the photograph of his 2019 Champions League triumph. He stared at it for a long moment. Then he whispered, almost to himself, "We're not finished yet." Outside, The club had arranged a small stage in front of the Shankly gates for him to greet the supporters. When Klopp stepped out, the roar that followed was thunderous, shaking the ground under his feet. He raised both hands high, acknowledging the love that poured from the crowd like a tidal wave. "Thank you," he said into the microphone, grinning widely. "I came back because this place is special, because of you, because of the players, because of the story we still have to write together." The fans chanted his name for several minutes, and Klopp waited patiently, smiling, taking it all in. Then he continued. "I feel the same fire I had when I first arrived, maybe even more. I'm not here to relax. I'm here to work, to fight, and to bring joy back to Liverpool. This is home, and together, we will go again." After the public moment, Klopp proceeded to the training facilities for a brief inspection. Even the staff members, groundskeepers, medical teams, kitchen workers stopped him to welcome him back, shaking his hand and sharing emotional stories about how much the club missed him. Klopp gave each person a warm greeting. He always believed that a football club was built not just on players and trophies, but on the workers behind the scenes. Later in the day, Klopp entered the dressing room, where a few players had gathered after training. Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah, and Andrew Robertson were among the first to greet him. The moment was filled with laughter, hugs, and shared memories. Trent wiped his eyes, clearly emotional. Salah placed a hand on Klopp's shoulder and said, "We're ready to go again, boss." Klopp replied, "Good, because we will need everyone." As the sun began to set, Klopp walked out onto the pitch of Anfield. The stadium was empty now, quiet, peaceful, yet carrying the echo of the day's excitement. He breathed deeply, taking in the smell of the grass, the cool wind blowing across the stands, and the sense of belonging that only this place could give him. He whispered softly, "Let's make new memories." With his return official, Liverpool supporters now looked to the future with renewed hope. Klopp's presence alone was enough to inspire belief that the club could rise again, compete for titles again, and revive the spirit that once made Liverpool one of the most feared teams in the world. The story of Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool had never been simple, never been quiet, and never been ordinary. But with his signature on the new 3-year contract, the message was clear. Another news: Jurgen Klopp's surprise visit to the AXA training centre. The sun had barely risen above Kirkby when whispers began to move through the corridors of the AXA training centre. Staff members exchanged puzzled glances. Security radios crackled more frequently than usual, and a sense of electricity filled the air. By 8:15 a.m, the reason became clear. Jurgen Klopp was back in the building. Wearing his trademark black cap, glasses, and a wide smile filled with familiar warmth, Klopp stepped into the main lobby as though he had never left. Even though he was no longer Liverpool's manager, his presence still carried the same magnetic energy that once electrified entire stadiums. "Morning, boys. Miss me?" he joked, as he made his way toward the indoor pitch. Inside, Liverpool's current squad, wearing their training kits, lacing boots, stretching, froze for a moment before the entire group erupted into cheers. Younger players looked starstruck, veterans looked emotional. For many, Klopp was not just a former manager, he was the architect of their mentality. After shaking hands, hugging players, and chatting briefly with staff, Klopp called everyone into a circle. "I'm not here for nostalgia, lads," he said. "I'm here to help you win, again and again, match to match. Let's get to work." A new tactical blueprint. Klopp began by drawing diagrams on a digital board. The players were instantly locked in. "Football has changed," he said. "Pressing must be smarter, not just harder. We press to trap, not to chase." He introduced what he called the layered counter-press, a refined variation of his famous gegenpressing. Instead of everyone pressing at once, the tactic used 3-wave pressure. Rotating triggers based on opponent ball angles, a midfielder dropping to create overload traps, wingers tucking inside for faster recovery transitions. He pointed at Trent Jeremy Furipong and Andy Gravenberch. Fullbacks, Your job is no longer only to overlap. You will be the second wave. Let the midfielders trap first, you close the cage. Then he turned to the attackers. Mo, Isak, Ekitike, you three start the storm. Force the centre-backs one direction. Don't win the ball. Guide them into the trap. The players nodded intensely. Klopp spoke with clarity, enthusiasm, and that unmistakable fire. Training drills with Klopp's energy. The next part was pure Klopp magic. He led a high-intensity drill involving 8-second pressing bursts, instant transition attacks, back-to-front movement in under 12 seconds, full-pitch tactical simulations. Every time a player executed a sequence correctly, Klopp shouted, "Yes, that's it! That's the football we want!" When Curtis Jones intercepted a pass during a pressing wave, Klopp sprinted across the pitch and hugged him. When Alexander Isak finished a chaotic sequence with a thunderous strike, Klopp shouted, This is what makes Liverpool unbearable to play against." A message in the dressing room. After 90 minutes of tactical intensity, Klopp gathered the team in the dressing room. You don't win leagues in May, you win them every single day. At training, in your decisions, in your belief. He paused, looking at each player. When Liverpool plays with courage and hunger, no team in the world enjoys facing you. This new identity, this new pressing system, use it, live it, win with it. He placed his hand on his heart. I'm not your coach anymore, but Liverpool is forever my family, and I want my family to win. Every match, every week, every battle. The exit that left fire in their hearts. As Klopp walked out of the AXA training centre, the players felt transformed, motivated, recharged. They spoke among themselves. This is what we've been missing. He still sees the game differently. Let's use this. Let's make him proud. And as Klopp waved goodbye and stepped into his car, the message he left behind still echoed through the building. Play with heart, press with hunger, win with purpose, match to match. Liverpool's next training session began with a new fire, a new mentality, and a new blueprint, inspired by the man who reshaped the club's identity. Another news. Jurgen Klopp arrives at Anfield to sign 3-year contract after Arne Slot is sacked. Anfield witnessed one of the most emotional, dramatic, and unexpected scenes in modern football history as Jurgen Klopp made his stunning return to Liverpool to sign a 3-year contract, only hours after the club confirmed the dismissal of Arne Slot. What began as a day of uncertainty quickly turned into an extraordinary moment of rebirth for Liverpool Football Club, igniting hope among millions of fans. The clock had barely struck 7 a.m. when whispers began circulating around Merseyside about unusual activity at Anfield. Staff members arriving early reported increased security presence and unfamiliar vehicles pulling into the director's entrance. Within minutes, the rumours exploded across social media. Klopp is back at Anfield. By the time cameras arrived, Klopp had already stepped out of his black SUV, walking with his trademark smile, waving to ecstatic supporters who could hardly believe what they were witnessing. The fall of Arne Slot. Arne Slot's tenure, which had started with ambition and optimism, collapsed much faster than Liverpool's leadership had anticipated. A series of heavy defeats, unexpected tactical breakdowns, and a visibly unmotivated squad led to enormous pressure from fans. A painful 3-0 loss to Manchester City, followed by inconsistent performances in the Premier League and Europe, turned the atmosphere toxic. Chants of, "We want Klopp back," became increasingly common at Anfield and away grounds. Players looked frustrated, supporters were emotionally drained, and the media relentlessly questioned Slot's methods. Behind the scenes, a sense of urgency began to grow as Liverpool's top officials feared the club was losing its identity, spark, and competitive edge. After a lengthy emergency meeting that extended into the night, Slot was officially relieved of his duties. It was a difficult but inevitable decision, especially after learning that Klopp was open to discussing a surprising return. Klopp's emotional comeback. The moment Klopp entered Anfield's main hall, he paused to look around as if reconnecting with memories. This was the place where he built legends, lifted trophies, restored belief, and gave the city some of the most unforgettable nights in football. According to witnesses, Klopp became emotional as he walked through the familiar